Hi, my name is Barb Oliver. I'm Director of Operations for Sound Foundations Northwest, and we're going to give you a tour of the Hope Factory. The Hope Factory started in March of 2018 in a tiny home village called Camp Second Chance. This is what it looked like when we first started. This is what it looks like now. We've built over 71 homes there. And about the time that we finished building at Camp Second Chance, COVID hit. And when COVID hit, it pretty much changed all of our lives. When we were at Camp Second Chance, we were building in what we optimistically called the Big Tent, which was a 3,000 square foot Quonset hut where we were still building on the jigs, but we were building homes one at a time. When COVID hit, we wanted to build them faster. And so we worked with Lehigh, the Low Income Housing Institute, and Lehigh has provided us with this warehouse space here, over 15,000 square feet of space, which we have converted our jig system into a jig system on an assembly line. When we were building here, we were building 2 homes every 3 weeks. Now we're building 2 homes every 3 days. The homes first come in as raw materials. Lowe's is our main community partner for that. They supply about 95% of everything that we do. No, they do not donate it. Yes, we do pay for them, but they give us deep discounts. So basically for every 11 homes that we buy, we get 2 for free. The raw materials comes over here in this raw materials area, and then from that point we start our pre-cutting process. The blue chop saw cuts for everything on the front part of the assembly line. The red chop saw on the back cuts for everything on the back part of the assembly line. After the lumber is cut, we start our assembly process. We use jigs, which are like templates on steroids. This is the jig for the platform, which is 8 feet by 12 feet. So our home is 96 square feet. On the side over here is the jig for the sidewall. This is where we finish the platform. We'll talk about that in just a second. Front wall, side wall, rear wall. The Hope Factory actually has 2 assembly lines. One is a short U-shaped assembly line, and then there's a larger U-shaped assembly line. And we had to figure out a way to move the homes around the assembly line. So we use these iron carts. These were made by our friends at the Iron Workers Local 86 as part of their apprenticeship program. So this is how we very easily move the homes around the assembly lines. Here's a close-up of the front wall jig. As you can see, everything's all marked out. So we just take our pre-cut lumber, stick it in the slots, and nail it up. Everything that we do here is designed so that even the least experienced novice can build a tiny home with us, including our instructions. This is the instructions for the sidewall. If you notice with our instructions, we do all of our instructions both in English and graphically because people learn differently. So you can see here, it's usually one team leader and a couple of crew members working on each wall. So it's very simple. The first step is to build a box. The next step is to build California corners, put those in, and then the next step, and then the next step, and usually within 2.5 hours we have a finished wall. Usually by lunchtime we have a finished side wall, finished platform, finished front wall, side wall, and rear wall. And then we do what we call the tilt-up process, which is like an old-fashioned barn raising. We take a side wall, tilt it up, and nail it on. Take a front wall around, tilt it up, and nail it on. Everything goes forward to zone number 3, where this home is. A side wall goes up, and then a back wall goes up. So in zone 3, we have a platform, 4 walls, and then we work on the roof. It takes 2 of our jigs to make a roof. The first jig is this one here, which is on a hinge system. When it's laid down, this makes a structural triangle. This is what the structural triangle looks like when it's on the home. This jig is called our half roof assembly. This makes the roof rafters that you see already pre-assembled right here. Usually on build and tilt-up days, we can take 5 team leaders and a crew of between 10 and 12 people and go from a pile of lumber to this in about 6 hours. We have a tradition at Sound Foundations Northwest that we put love notes in every home that we build. It all gets covered over, nobody knows it's there but us, but it's just a way that we can put some love in the home. The Hope Factory, which is the name of our facility, is a 100% recyclable facility. In fact, we just won the Green Globe Award for Housing because of our efforts here in recycling. We do a lot of recycling. In fact, nothing goes in the landfill here. For example, when we're cutting interior panels for the walls, we take 4x8 sheets of plywood, we take them over here on the panel saw, cut them out, and then put them over here on our orange carts. We take the scrap from the interior walls and we make 4-inch pieces of trim for the baseboards, 2-inch pieces of trim for everything else. This is our long rack, so anything long lives here. Our exterior trim, Tyvek, drip edge, anything long lives in this area here. This is where we pre-cut everything for the roof. If you've ever cut a shingles with a utility knife, you know how hard that is. And so we invented this. This is called the Shingulator. This is like a paper cutter for shingles. So you just put the shingle in there, very easy to cut the shingles. The next step in our process is called the finish line. The home directly behind me here gets floors, doors, and trim. The home behind that gets caulk, and the roof gets put on. Now, we actually have more volunteers than we had stuff to do. Good problem to have, right? So we built a second finish line, exactly the same thing, and with that, it's made quite a difference. In 2022, we built as many homes as we did in 2021 by Labor Day. So we're able to get almost 60 more people off the ground just with one good idea. When we put the interior paneling on, sometimes the panels come together nice and tight, and sometimes there's cracks. So what we do is we take that trim that we cut down and we put 4-inch trim around the baseboards, 2-inch trim for everything else, and then we caulk every seam, every nail, every screw. Everything gets caulked in here. If everything is sealed, the moisture's got to go somewhere and hot air rises. So if you look up, you can see our venting system here. It goes all along the top ridge of the home, and we use all scrap materials for this. In our homes, we also make a front shelf and a back shelf out of scrap materials. We also include in every home a punch list, which is like a to-do list for everything that we do in the order that we do it. So if you're a regular volunteer here and you don't know what to do in the home, all you have to do is just look at the list and then you'll know. X means that we've done it, 0 means that it needs to be done. So it gives the volunteers a way to know what needs to be done in each and every home. Like I mentioned earlier, we are recycling fools. So what you're seeing here is actually a recycled billboards. Billboards are 9 mils thick. They're twice as thick as any heavy-duty tarp that we can buy, and it's only about $10 a home. We found this on the internet. We had to figure out a way to very safely work on the roof. So we invented these. These are called Skymobiles. We put one on either side. It's a combination of stairs, scaffolding, and shingle elevator. And this is how we safely work on the roof. This is our paint department. We have a total of 6 paint bays. 1, 2, 3, 4 that you see here, and 2 behind you. We paint in a 3-step process. Step number 1 is we paint the outside of the home, and we paint the inside with Kilz primer. KILZ, Kilz paint, is a special paint that mitigates the mold. Step 2 is where we finish the inside and the outside trim. Step 3 is what we call our final QC, or quality control. That's where we pull the tarps and wash the windows and put the doorknobs in and touch up the paint and do everything that we can so our homes go out the door 100% complete. This is what our finished home looks like. Now let's go take a look on the inside. Here's the inside of the home. Like I mentioned earlier, it's 8 feet by 12 feet, so 96 square feet. This home is actually an optical illusion. From your perspective right there, when you first walk in, your eyes naturally go to this corner. So we do everything to make everything feel bigger. We take our longest boards and we put them on this side so it feels longer. This panel is intentionally wider than this panel and painted white so it feels taller, and all of our floors are run this way. Finally, one of our traditions is always to take the keys to the window so that the mover knows that they're there. And as is our tradition, we always write the word "Welcome Home" on here. Just a way we can add just a little bit more love in the homes that we built. Thank you so much for joining our tour today. If you have any other questions, you can email us at soundfoundationsnw@gmail.com or go on our website, www.soundfoundationsnw.org.